If the Productivity Solutions grant is the one you reach for when you want to buy a ready-made tool off the shelf, the Enterprise Development Grant is the one you reach for when your ambitions are bigger than any single tool can solve. EDG is built for the meteor projects, the ones where a company sets out to upgrade its core, transform how it works, or push into new markets and needs real support to make that leap. In the next few minutes, we will unpack what EDG actually is, the three broad areas it supports, how it differs from PSG, who broadly qualifies, and how the support and the application really work, all in plain English. One important note before we start: this channel is educational only. We are not a government agency. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by Enterprise Singapore or Go Business, and nothing here is official advice. The rules, the figures, and the criteria for EDG are set by the authorities and change over time. So treat everything in this video as background and always confirm the current details on the official sources gobusiness.gov.sg and enterprisesg.gov.sg before you act. What EDG is? Let us define it plainly. The Enterprise Development Grant, usually shortened to EDG, is a support scheme designed to help Singapore companies grow and transform through larger, more ambitious projects. Where some schemes hand you a fixed subsidy for a fixed purchase, EDG is built around a proposal. You describe a project you want to undertake, something that will genuinely strengthen or expand your business, and if it is supported, the grant co-funds a portion of the qualifying cost of that project. Because the projects are bespoke, EDG tends to involve more planning, a clearer business case, and often the help of an appointed consultant to carry the work out. Think of it as support for a deliberate, sizable step forward rather than a quick purchase. It is the grant for when you have a real transformation in mind and you want to share the cost and the effort of getting it done properly. The three broad pillars. EDG is often described in terms of three broad pillars, and understanding them helps you see whether your project fits. The first pillar is core capabilities, which covers projects that strengthen the foundations of your business. Things like business strategy, financial management, human capital, and building the systems a growing company needs. The second pillar is innovation and productivity, which supports projects that help you work smarter, adopt new technology, redesign processes, or develop new products and services. The third pillar is market access, which is about helping companies expand beyond their current boundaries, often by preparing to enter or grow in overseas markets. Most real projects lean mainly on one pillar, though the lines can blur. The useful takeaway is that EDG is not narrow. Whether your next big step is about getting stronger, getting more efficient, or getting further afield, there is likely a pillar that speaks to it, and the official source is where you confirm exactly what each one covers today. How EDG differs from PSG. This is the comparison people ask about most, and we have a whole video dedicated to it, but here is the short version. The Productivity Solutions Grant, or PSG, is built for speed and simplicity. It supports pre-approved, off-the-shelf solutions, the kind of proven tools and software that many businesses need, chosen from a published list. You pick a supported solution, and the process is relatively light. EDG works differently. It is for bespoke, bigger projects that do not come out of a catalog. Instead of choosing from a list, you put together a proposal describing what you want to achieve, and the work is typically carried out with an appointed consultant or qualified provider. That means EDG usually involves more effort upfront, a stronger business case, and a longer timeline, but it also opens the door to far more ambitious change than an off-the-shelf tool could deliver. A simple way to remember it: PSG is buy a proven solutions, EDG is build a tailored project. Many growing companies end up using both over time for different needs. Who broadly qualifies? So who is EDG broadly for? In general terms, it is aimed at business entities that are registered and operating in Singapore, that are financially ready to start and complete the project, and that have a meaningful local element to the business, often described in terms of local shareholding. The spirit of it is to support genuine Singapore-based enterprises that are committed to growing, not shell companies or businesses without the means to see a project through. Beyond those broad ideas, there are specific conditions, and they matter. The exact definitions of who counts as eligible, what financial health is expected, and any sector nuances are all set officially and can be updated, so I am deliberately not going to quote you fixed criteria here. If you take one thing from this section, let it be this. The shape of eligibility is about being a real, viable Singapore company with a credible project, and the precise qualifying rules are something you must confirm on gobusiness.gov.sg and enterprisesg.gov.sg rather than assume from a video. How the support works. Now the part everyone wants to understand, how the money actually works. EDG does not pay for your whole project, and it is not a cash handout. Instead, it co-funds a portion of the qualifying costs of a supported project, meaning it covers a share while your business covers the rest. Those qualifying costs typically fall into recognized categories such as professional fees for consultancy work, certain software or equipment tied to the project, and some internal manpower costs directly related to it, though what counts is defined officially. The share that is co-funded is set by the authorities. It is a portion rather than the full amount, and it has been adjusted over time and can differ by circumstance, so I will not put a number on it here. What matters is the principle. You are sharing the cost of an ambitious project with support, which lowers the barrier to committing, but you still carry a real part yourself, and you should always check the current co-funding level and cost rules on the official source before you budget. What a typical project looks like. Let us make this concrete with a made-up illustration because the abstract pillars can feel slippery. Imagine a mid-sized local manufacturer that has grown quickly but is starting to trip over its own processes. Orders are handled in spreadsheets, the leadership team has no clear strategy for the next few years, and margins are getting squeezed. Under EDG, that company might scope a project with an appointed consultant to redesign its core operations, put a proper business strategy in place, and introduce systems that improve productivity, drawing on the core capabilities and productivity pillars. If that same company later decided it was ready to sell into a neighboring country, it might scope a separate project around market access, studying the new market and preparing to enter it. Notice the pattern. Each EDG project is a defined piece of work with a clear goal, a plan, and an outcome the business is trying to reach, not a one-off purchase. That is exactly the kind of deliberate, sizable step the grant is designed to support. Common mistakes. A handful of mistakes trip businesses up again and again, so let us name them. The first is treating EDG like PSG and expecting to simply pick something and get quick support, when EDG is a proposal-based project that needs planning and a real business case. The second is starting the project or committing to costs before understanding the proper process, because timing and approvals matter, and getting the order wrong can cost you support. The third is choosing a consultant purely on price rather than fit, when the quality of the partner often shapes whether the project actually delivers. The fourth is writing a vague proposal, one that describes activity but not a clear outcome, when a strong case shows what will change and why it matters. And the fifth, the one this whole channel keeps repeating, is relying on second-hand figures and rules from articles or videos instead of the official source. Every one of these is avoidable with a bit of preparation and a habit of checking the authoritative channels first. How to check and apply. So how do you actually move forward? Start on the official government channels rather than a forum or an old blog post, because that is the only place the current rules, categories, and process live. In practice, applications for grants like EDG are handled through the official Go Business platform, where you log in with your business credentials and the supporting information sits on the Enterprise Singapore site. The sensible sequence looks like this. First, get clear on the project you actually want to do and the outcome you are aiming for. Second, read the official EDG pages so you understand the current pillars, cost categories, and conditions as they stand today. Third, prepare a proper proposal and business case, usually working with a suitable consultant or provider. Fourth, submit through the official platform and follow the process as published. I want to be clear about one thing. We cannot apply on your behalf. We cannot secure or approve a grant for anyone, and no one can honestly guarantee an outcome. What you can do is prepare well and apply through the proper official route, which is entirely in your hands. Quick recap. Let us pull it together. The Enterprise Development Grant (EDG) is support for larger bespoke projects that help a Singapore company grow and transform. It spans three broad pillars: core capabilities, innovation and productivity, and market access, so it stretches from strengthening your foundations to expanding overseas. Unlike PSG, which supports pre-approved off-the-shelf solutions quickly, EDG is proposal-based, usually involves an appointed consultant, and suits bigger, tailored change. It is broadly aimed at genuine, viable Singapore-based businesses with a credible project. It co-funds a portion of qualifying costs rather than paying the whole bill, and it runs through a proper application process. And because the exact percentages, categories, and criteria are set officially and change over time, the live details always come from gobusiness.gov.sg and enterprisesg.gov.sg, never from memory. A closing reminder: remember the spirit of this channel. Our job is to hand you the map and the vocabulary, so schemes like EDG stop feeling like alphabet soup, and you can walk into the official pages already knowing what you are looking at. But the official sources always have the final word. Nothing here is a promise that you qualify, that your project will be supported, or that any figure you heard is current. When you are ready, take a clear project in mind, read the official EDG pages on Enterprise Singapore and Go Business, and prepare from there. If this made EDG clearer, subscribe for a new Singapore grant breakdown, and we will keep turning these schemes into plain English, one grant at a time, so you can stop leaving funding on the table.